Welcome to the latest format of Community Association Call Chat with David and Steve. We're glad to have you here today for a little bit tweaked format. These formats are now live, broadcasted from our cars where we receive our guests as we did last year. We're glad to introduce you to people from the Community Association industry. I'm David Velasco with JGS Insurance. I'm the broker that brings people together. And today I will introduce and slide you over to Steve.
Hey, everybody. I'm Steve
Hey,
Roddick.
you.
I'm super excited to be here. This new format's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's more real life in your face, and we're not going to edit this stuff. So, guys, you want to come on the show, man, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really stoked to be here. So today, as normal, we do have a very, very special guest. And actually, she was one of our first guests last year. So how about we all give a nice warm welcome to Nicole Skaro.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited. I can't believe that you guys asked me to be your first one of these.
Yeah. Well,
You might regret it.
We're glad to have you.
Very confident.
Now, Nicole has the longest title ever, if you look at the banner on the bottom. And we'd like you to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, Nicole.
Sure. So I'm Nicole Skaro. I'm the Regional Account Executive for CIT's Community Association Banking Division. I cover New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. And I basically help property management companies and community associations with their banking needs. Everything from, we're full service. So it's everything from lending to investing, which right now is incredibly important. And also just the collection of the HOA dues and how management companies are easily able to handle those dues with integration with software and all that good stuff. So, and I am also this year's CAI Pennsylvania or Keystone chapter now president, and I'm incredibly excited about that because this is a chapter that's very near and dear to my heart.
Well, we're glad to have you as a president this year.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So do we have to call you Mrs. President, Madam President? What do you go by?
Nick.
Okay.
Or Nicole.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations. Now, my notes here tell me that you are an active member of several trade organizations. Can you tell us which trade organizations you're active in?
So that's true and not true. At the moment, I'm just a member of CAI, but I am in multiple chapters.
Okay.
And I have previously been involved with IREM, the apartment associations, with BOMA, CREW, to name just a few, but all fantastic organizations, and they all have similarities and differences.
Now you did mention CAI. Can you tell us a little bit about this acronym? Because some of our viewers are not from the industry per se, but would like to maybe drill a little bit about your experience in serving with and volunteering in this type of organization, trade organization. Tell us a little bit more.
Sure. So CAI stands for Community Associations Institute,
Nice.
and it's an organization that brings together the business partners, the managers, and the homeowner leaders in particular, but homeowners in general that are all part of multifamily, HOA, townhouse, condo, co-op, and now becoming more commonly known as the common interest communities. And it brings everybody together for education, for networking, and it's the hub and the place to go to, in particular for the education aspect of things. Whether you're a homeowner leader or a manager, for managers, you're able to get your designations and maintain your designations, and for homeowners, down the road there may be a level of a designation that needs to be received or a level of education that needs to be received. But in the meantime, anything that any homeowner can do or needs to know is available through CAI, whether it's on the national level or the individual chapter level.
All right, terrific. Well, thank you for clarifying that. Now, you did mention you used to be in several different chapters of the same organization, CAI, Community Association Institutes. Now, are all, in your experience, are all the chapters the same within the same group?
No, they're so different. And it's funny. I've been part of probably 9 different chapters throughout the years along the East Coast, all the way up from New England down to Florida, Miami chapter, Southeast chapter. Now, I never got to visit any of the Miami events, but I was able to attend some virtually, great events. But everything up everything depends regionally really for you. So, what works down in Florida won't work up in New England, whether it's education or topics. So you have different involvement from different business partners. You have different education sessions. You have different ways that people just work together. We see differences even between New Jersey and Pennsylvania, two chapters that technically share a state. We have the way that the two boards work and the way that the two offices work are similar for sure, but personalities make a big difference. Skill set makes a huge difference, and just personal involvement. So I've seen differences in the chapters on an annual basis, but also just I've seen chapters shift and change through the years depending on who the leadership is. Many times for the better. Every year it seems like it's an improvement no matter which chapter it is. But it is very interesting to see the differences and the different levels of involvement that everybody has, the different ways the CEDs or the chapter executive directors handle things.
Right.
It's actually fun to watch and to figure out the dynamic and to figure out where you fit in the dynamic.
Yeah, it is. I'm a member of a couple of different chapters right now as well. It is kind of interesting to see the different dynamics. Now, you've you've been all over the place. Any recommendations for somebody coming in who wants to be involved in multiple chapters? Do you have any advice for those people?
Number one, if you're coming into the organization, the first thing is to get involved as a volunteer on a committee. I think we can agree on that. We've been on multiple committees together. Yes. And that's the way that you get your footing. And I would say to find one that fits your strength and to try and see if there's a similar committee in the next chapter that you're going to become a member of.
Okay, fair enough.
You're going to have those. You're playing on your strength already, but you're also then able to maybe share things that worked for one that could potentially work for the other one too.
Okay.
So, and you may have some similar people on both, which then will just help you to get a better relationship with them. And then before you know it, you know almost everybody in the chapter.
Sure. So, getting involved in the committee is really advantageous for a lot of different reasons. But what kind of attitude should a person bring to the committee? Like, what are some of the expectations there? What are they looking for?
So, and that can depend on the chapter too. Some chapters just are looking for people to do certain tasks. Others want to hear more ideas. And that can change, that can shift depending on who your chair is and who your chapter director is and your board. But I say come in with the first couple meetings, maybe come in and observe, and then see where you can fit. And you, not everybody's going to come in the same. So some people can't designate as much time. There may be volunteering with very limited time. They might have families, they might have jobs that count the minutes that they're volunteering versus doing, billable hours. And others that is their job is to get involved and to be as involved as possible. So to let your chair know, the chair of your committee know what you're able to do, so they have an expectation of what you're doing. And so that they can find something for you specifically to do, but come in with excitement, enthusiasm for whatever it is. Even if you can only make 5 phone calls for that year, make those 5 phone calls with as much enthusiasm as possible and as much like genuine feeling. Because if you're coming in and you're just coming in as a task, people are going to know it, and it's just not going to contribute to the.
Oh. We lost Nick.
Did we?
Well, it seems like for a second she's frozen. So
we got Walt Disney.
That's what happened when you're live. Now, in your experience, Steve, when you deal with a committee, is there anything that you could have following up on what Nicole was saying?
I'd love to follow up on what Nicole was saying. I mean, managing the expectation, if you're up front, you can tell the committee chair what you can and can't do and what your abilities are as far as the time that you can commit. I think that goes a long way, because if they're expecting you to do a certain amount of work for the committee and put in a certain amount of effort and your expectation and your abilities are here, it's not going to be good for anybody. So I think what she said is very poignant.
Yep. So Nicole's texting me. She's logging back in.
Okay.
All right. She's going to join back up. So now, what kind of committee are you serving in, and which organization, Steve?
Actually, in the New Jersey chapter of CAI, I'm serving on the membership committee for I believe it's going to be my 4th year on the committee. So what we do is we recruit and maintain the membership for the New Jersey chapter. So when people's membership are expiring, we'll send out a reminder email. When people have gone past the expiration date, we'll shoot them a message or give them a quick phone call and make sure that that was on purpose. And if it was on purpose that they don't want to be a member anymore, we try to get a little bit of information as to why, get some feedback for the org, what we can do better, how we can better serve the communities. For Pennsylvania over there, I'm actually on the New Jersey Regional Council. I'm a vice chair with Lisa Reka for the regional chapter of New Jersey of the Pennsylvania or the Keystone chapter of CAI. So what we do is I think Nicole had mentioned, we pretty much share a state there, or at least portion of New Jersey. So as the New Jersey Regional Council, we try to bring that together and make sure that everybody's getting what they need from the Keystone chapter.
Terrific. Now, welcome back, Nicole. We're glad to have you back. Quick thing with you. I just want to jump on events. So sometimes you may have a business partner, like a service provider, joining a trade organization, no matter what it is, and they expect to spend, so let's say membership is a few $100s, and now they expect a direct return on it. You mentioned joining the committees can be useful. You get visibility, you can showcase your ability to work within the team, develop your acumen about the specific industry you're in or the network you're joining. But what about events, like networking events, educational events? Should that be on the priority of a business owner when joining an organization to budget for that?
Absolutely. And it can be an additional expense. So you're right. You do have to budget for that. But there's nothing that beats that face-to-face time. So if you're at the networking events, that's fantastic. That's when you're going to get to know people. You're going to get to see them kind of drop their guard a little bit. You're going to get to really ask the questions that you want to ask. Right now, we have to take advantage of every opportunity that we have to get together and be in person and see each other, bump elbows or fist bump or whatever it is that we do now. But there's nothing that's going to beat that. And as far as the education, yes. So CAI, hands down, is the best organization for community association managers and homeowners, but it also is for business partners. So a lot of times I see business partners that will sponsor an event and then they'll walk out of the room during the actual education part. I encourage them to sit in that education session because you're going to learn about the industry and you may pick up a little tidbit of information that you didn't know that could help your own business, or it can just help you to be able to sound knowledgeable about this industry. It's a very specific industry. And you can tell right away when somebody knows this industry and doesn't know this industry. So the more education that you get, whether you're a manager, a homeowner, or a business partner, is huge. So the education aspect is absolutely. And usually after education or before education, there's the networking. So you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Steve, moving on.
Excuse me?
Do you want to move on to the next question?
Sure. You know, it's funny. So we mentioned earlier, you are now the president of the Keystone chapter for Pennsylvania. So can you walk us through that process a little bit of how one becomes Madam President of a chapter?
Sure. So
You
it's
broke the glass ceiling, so we want to know how.
It's a long process. So I can tell you one of the first awards or one of the first end of the year parties that Pennsylvania had that I attended, I remember Mitch Frumpkin getting announced as that upcoming president. Mm-hmm. And I remember standing there thinking, I want to be president. And I had no idea what it meant. I just knew that someday I wanted to be president. Now, I can't even tell you how many years ago that was, probably about 8 or 9 years ago, 7 or 8 years, somewhere in the 7 to 9 range, let's just say. But it takes time. So you have to get to know the organization. You can't just come in and say, I want to get on the board. Get to know the organization, get to know some of the nuances, get to know the chapter staff. That's huge. Get to know how the inner workings are. You do have to be, we do have prerequisites in the Keystone chapter, at least, for our chairs. And then from there to go on to the board. So we want to see committee members So there's your involvement right there, your committee member. And then you'll work your way up vice chair to chair. And from there, you're eligible to be able to apply to a board position.
Okay.
There's the actual executive portion that has the past president, the president-elect, secretary, and treasurer. And it used to be that once you've gone on to secretary, you were kind of on track to be president, but it's not so much the case anymore. Now it's a self-nominating from secretary up to vice president, and from there, up to president-elect. And once you're at president-elect, you're automatically going to be president the next year. So, and that's as a protection to the chapter. We want to make sure that people remain involved the entire time and don't just get on that track and say, okay, I'm on this track, I don't have to do anything. You
Right.
still have to be involved, and you still have to get to know the membership and continue to be involved on some of the issues, especially now with what the issues are. We want to see that you're going to be there and that you're genuinely going to care and understand some of the challenges that we've had the past couple of years. So the biggest first step is getting on that committee and getting to know the organization.
Sure. I have a follow-up question now. So sorry if I'm stepping on David here, but
No.
so a few weeks back, I happened to attend a beautiful awards gala. I mean, it was a really, really nice event. I think David may be the only French guy without a tuxedo. But I mean, you, Nicole, you were there. You looked absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
Now, and it happened to be the announcement of your presidency. Now, the speaker said something that really struck me. Okay, and it keep echoes in my head. And he said that maybe just
fill it out. Come on, you
you had a serious aversion to speaking publicly. I mean, and now look at you. I mean, so how did you overcome?
Getting thrown to the fire. That's it. So I have done public speaking since I was a little kid. There's just always that fear that you're not going to be able to get what's in the head out of your head. And so eventually I had to tell myself, nobody else knows what's in this coconut except for me. So if it doesn't come out exactly right, it doesn't come out exactly right. And look, we can all laugh. I mean, the three of us have laughed for however many years we've known each other at the fumblings that we've each made. So what's the worst that's going to happen? So sure. I know others definitely probably fear more what's going to come out of my mouth than I do, but I figure if it comes out, I stand behind it, or the worst that'll happen is I'll have to apologize for it. So but yeah, no. So, and actually I can say Bob Travis, a shout out to him. He's a fantastic public speaker and he doesn't get nervous. And I asked him one day why he didn't get nervous, and he's got a great story. And I'm going to leave a cliffhanger there for everybody to reach out to Bob Travis and talk to him, because he helps to put it into a perspective that once you hear that, it's not that big of a deal. I still get the jitters. I'll always get the jitters. And I think that's a good thing. But once we push past those jitters, we're talking to friends.
Perfect. Sorry, I forgot to move you back to the main screen. I apologize for that. Now, going back to the trade organization, we're going to wrap this up in just a minute. Organizations around the world have seen, obviously, difficulties with the pandemic. Now, what's the key for an organization to be able to pivot and stay relevant?
That's hard because it is going to be on an individual level. We saw chapters throughout on a national level. Some took much bigger of a hit than others. And I honestly don't know what it was. I don't know, because they all run so differently. It's hard to gauge. For Pennsylvania, I can say what helped us to thrive. I can't say what'll make one fail, but what definitely helped us to thrive was an absolute shout out to Tony, the chapter director, and his staff. Countless hours, just trying to figure out how to pivot the technology, how to make sure that everything that was going to be held in person was held virtually, or we figured out a different route around it. Our business partners and along with a specific group of volunteers, reached out to all our business partners that we knew that were going to be hit, to just check on like a welfare check for them, just to make sure that they were okay, see if there was anything the chapter could do, if we could guide them in a way where they could get free press, whether it was through articles or blogs or webinars or whatever they could do. We reached out to managers to make sure that they had their sanity during that time, because we know that that was a very trying time for the managers. And we listened to the homeowners and what they needed and what their fears were. There wasn't a stone that was left untouched or unturned. And the culture in this chapter has grown to a crazy level where we all genuinely care about each other because of the time that we spent together, whether it was on like virtual concerts or educated business partners classes. We saw so many go for their PCAM. We just recently had 3 that I know of in the chapter that got their PCAM. I think we had 2 or 3 last year. So the people just pulled together, supported each other, set goals, reached them. And we did it through the chapter. So it helped the chapter to be able to stay strong. And I don't know what the other chapters have done and haven't done, but just seeing this specific chapter come together the way that it did was incredible. And the excitement and enthusiasm that everybody has going into this year is carried over from the past 2. And this year is going to have its challenges. So we can't take our foot off the pedal. We have to keep going. We have to get more creative, and we have to get more involved with each other. And I think that's the only way that we're going to be able to still ride out the rest of this storm, because we don't know how long it's going to last.
Right.
So that was a long answer.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well,
that's exactly what John Katz would say.
All right. For 2022, chapter president, Miss Chapter President, what's your plan?
We have a bunch of plans. I know. So I got to keep this down for you. So we do have a bunch of plans. There's about 4 or 5 like main things, but just keep your eye out for the first annual LAC ladies only golf outing. That's to support LAC.
Steve's invited, right?
Steve's invited. Yes. We have the member experience.
Okay.
Member engagement committee. That's going to be an official committee this year, where we're going to be focusing on member engagement. Taking everything to that next level. We have what we're going to try and kick off is a peer group for high-rise managers in particular. We know that that's a very specific need, so a peer group for them to be able to support each other. And we have some other efforts that are in fledgling efforts at the moment, but definitely focusing on manager recruitment and education and homeowner education as well.
Excellent.
We like it. Steve, do you have anything fun for Nicole before we wrap this up?
Well, you know what? We used to do something, some rapid fire questions with the guests, and it was a lot of fun. But, since we are talking about community associations, thought maybe we change it up a little bit and do a little word association. Nicole, are you ready? I'm going to say a word or a phrase, and you just say whatever pops into your brain.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, this is live, so be careful.
All right.
All right. So, first one, dark.
Light.
Snow.
Sun.
Charity.
Giving.
Oatmeal.
Ugh. Cookies.
Fancy.
Dirty.
Grow.
Plants.
Jeans.
Skirt.
You're into opposites.
I know, but this is the first thing I think of is the opposite.
Okay. You just want to argue. You just want to punch me in the face.
I think Zone Cast are
Right, I'll try and stay in sync. What's the next one?
Fire.
Restoration.
Together.
Forever.
Sorry. She's flashing your buttons.
Free. Buttons.
Oh, she's frozen.
Oh, she froze.
Oh man, she went.
Oh, she froze right on buttons.
Yeah, she went Elsa on us.
I only had a few more too.
Oh well. Well, I'm not sure if we're gonna get her back, but she is trying to get in. So that's the fun of the live.
Yeah.
And as we're heading to wrap up this episode, we really enjoy having this a full big picture of Nicole frozen. Okay, I can put her in the middle. Oh no, she's back. She is back.
I even made sure I had strong internet connection.
Oh, but it froze.
Well,
It's such a very, very nice moment. It was a very
Sure.
it was
oh well.
Hey,
And we
we have to
absolutely
laugh
did
at
not make fun
ourselves.
of you when you were gone. So, Nicole, we're going to wrap this up. We'll give you 10 seconds to plug for whatever you want. Go ahead.
I'm going to plug for the member engagement or member experience, because I think everybody, no matter if it's our customers or our members, we have to take everything this year to that next level. Whatever we can do to help each other, put aside any of those feelings that we may have from the past couple of years, and just kick butt in 2022.
We appreciate that very much. So get involved, get engaged with trade organization. Follow the advice that Nicole gave us today. Steve, we appreciate you being here for Comic Relief as usual.
Well, I applaud your efforts, Nicole. Thank you for everything you do, all the time that you put in, regardless of what David may want to minimize. So anyway, thanks again for being with us again for your second appearance on our lovely little show here. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for having me.
See you around.